Hi, I'm Jim Rapozi, Senior Research Analyst at the Aberdeen Group. We're here today to talk about the rising use of video within corporations, how this video is being used in a legitimate business context, and also the impact that this rising use of video is having on corporate networks, on bandwidth within these networks, and on the ability to provide a high-quality experience for these video applications within companies. With me today is Brendan Reid, VP of Marketing with Exinda. Hi, Brendan. How does this play out with what you're seeing?
Hey, Jim. Great to be here. Exinda helps companies every day control the traffic on the network, and more we're hearing about the video challenge and the many facets of that problem, both in terms of providing SLAs for strategic video and also controlling recreational video. So it's a very topical subject today, and I'm excited to have the conversation.
You know, I think if you talked to an IT manager, just grab some IT guy and say, oh, what's video's impact, what's video happening on your corporate network, the first thing they're going to think of is YouTube and Netflix and people watching sports and not doing business stuff. And there's certainly a lot of that kind of traffic. Cisco regularly puts out numbers about internet traffic, and I think the current number is 40% of all internet traffic is video, with 25% being Netflix, I think. And they predict that 90% by like 2014 or 2015 will be video. So obviously video traffic is a huge impact across the internet. But I also think, in business, it's becoming a classic, a typical business content, as much as Word docs or spreadsheets or PowerPoints, that video, whether it's for training or real-time communications, is a valid enterprise business content. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, and I actually think that's almost the most critical point about video right now, which is the temptation is that when you speak about video traffic, you hear wasted traffic.
Right.
But the reality is, as we speak with companies, more and more they're talking about strategic use of video. So now the problem set has become much more complex, because on the one hand you have recreational video, on the other hand you have strategic video, and now you have to understand the context by which video is being used.
Right, and obviously that strategic video has to be very high quality, especially when you're talking real time, but even with on demand. And that's segues nicely into our next point. In that, as you said, video in corporate environments takes a lot of different forms. You have on-premise video, which is running on your corporate network, or you're predominantly in your corporate network, and that can be real-time chat or conferencing. It'll be on-demand video, like training, like marketing materials. You'll also have sort of corporate-sanctioned SaaS or hosted things, whether that's your business's YouTube channel or video, a hosted conferencing system. And then again, you'll also have recreational video traffic, and you kind of have to understand all of this different traffic while optimizing that video traffic, your corporate video traffic, which according to our surveys, 70% of on-premise video represents 70% of the video use within different businesses. And
so, Jim, you and I have talked about this point before, which is the overarching macro trend right now in networking is that whereas maybe 3 to 5 years ago content was king, today context is now king, which means you have to understand, who's using the video, what they're using it for, what network conditions exist, so that you can assure SLAs for strategic video, and that you can constrain or constrict recreational video. So if you don't understand the context by which video is being used, you simply can't be delivering the kinds of SLAs that you need to in today's enterprise.
Right. You can't just blanket, we're going to ramp doing video, because then you're impacting your corporate video.
Exactly.
You need to understand the difference between Netflix or watching March Madness versus doing a video conference. No, it's an interesting thing. One of the things we've done here at Aberdeen is, as part of our research, we always look at who's successful at doing things, and in my specific case, who's successful at doing performance management and optimizing network and improving application performance. And one of the things I did is I looked at businesses that had made an investment in the performance management, optimization of video, and compared them to companies that weren't doing anything as far as optimization or performance management of video. And it's interesting because across the board you see, and if you look at the accompanying slide, you'll see this as well, you see that these businesses that invest in business are kind of doing an overall approach to optimization. They're not just saying, oh, we're dealing with video, they're getting all of their bandwidth control based on business rules, based on different application types. They're identifying recreational traffic, so they know the difference between that YouTube video for fun and the YouTube video for work. They know what their end users are doing. They understand the response time. So one thing we've seen is that by investing in the video, they're also kind of gaining an overall improved profile when it comes to performance management and optimization.
And I think the point there that we see is when it comes to network optimization and control, there's a shift that's taking place from a focus on throughput of business applications that use CIFS and MAPI and things like that to a focus on user experience, and that customers are demanding more integrated, almost converged solutions around this point of user experience so that you can deliver the kinds of SLAs that you need for all the kinds of traffic that you have in the network.
That's a great point, and I love that point about converged too, and we're definitely seeing that. And when you talk about a lot of this corporate video, it isn't just staring at a video. It's something like what we're doing right here, where there's accompanying web content. There's all this different content going along with the video. So that idea of that sort of converged across the board view really plays into how you deal with video in a corporate environment. And a nice little segue into our next point here. We're talking about getting the most out of your enterprise video. And again, when we looked at these companies that were doing video-based performance management versus companies that weren't, they were gaining benefits across the board. In all application response time, they were getting much more achievement at meeting SLAs. They had better response times in transactions and applications, and they had reduced the number of calls to help desk and support. So again, it's this video as a driver. It's really kind of you're gaining benefits across the board by focusing on this sort of bandwidth intensive service.
And as I listen to you speak, it reminds me that when I speak to customers, the atomic unit, the most common denominator is SLA.
Right.
So when it all sort of exactly, right? So it all boils down now to I need to be able to deliver guaranteed SLAs for critical video traffic across all conditions to all users, however they connect, and I can't allow the recreational use of video to negatively impact or cannibalize the SLA for the stuff that is most important.
But you can't just, obviously you can just try to block recreational video, but you may end up blocking legitimate video.
Right. So when the marketing department is using YouTube for a strategic campaign, I don't want to block that. But when you're checking out March Madness highlights on YouTube, I do want to block.
Yeah, or at least limit its impact on the bandwidth.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. No, great point. So taking a lot of this data that we've just been going over, one of the things we've kind of done here is we've looked at what the companies that were successful did, or what some of the key factors were in how video impacted their networks, and kind of broke it down into a few key points here that I'll kind of go over real quickly. One is that video drives performance. As we've said over and over again, the fact that you're dealing with video as a corporate asset, as a valid business critical application, by investing in video improvements, improving that quality of service, you're kind of driving your overall performance management optimization initiatives. Also, that by taking this sort of optimization, acceleration, monitoring, understanding, this whole performance management perspective to it, rather than just saying, oh, we're doing video, let's throw a bunch more hardware into the data center. You're by optimizing and improving and gaining better knowledge and a better understanding, as you said, the context, you're going to overall improve your network performance across the board. And as we said, the video is a business investment. You want the video to be high quality. You don't want to be having lousy video chats or poor experience with the on-demand video, because then people won't use it. So you want to get the most out of your video investment. And overall, you're just going to have a better understanding and control over your network and application traffic. Do these points kind of go along with what you're
and I
hearing?
think maybe a good final message, and you've covered it nicely, is video now for an enterprise is a multivariable problem. And so it requires a solution that is multivariable in nature also. So you have to be able to address all the faces of video. You have to be able to address how do I preserve SLAs for my most important video, and how do I provide a certain level of access but not too much for my strategic videos. So it's a multivariable problem. It requires a multivariable solution. So for companies out there who are building strategies around video, you have to look at all the facets and understand that it requires an intelligent approach to solving the video challenge.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, that you have to have that understanding and that intelligence plays across the board when it comes to understanding and managing video and getting the most out of your video. Well, this has been our discussion today about the impact of video on network performance. They said video killed the radio star, but maybe video will help the network management star overall just have better video and improve their overall network performance. So thanks for watching. Again, I'm Jim Rapozi for the Aberdeen Group. Brendan, Reid.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Jim.
everyone. Thanks.